We're taking this all the way to the curb. We're going to do this discharge line in a leach line. We do this a lot. I don't talk about it enough. We show it in so many videos, but I wanted to really talk about the advantages of doing a discharge line and a leach line. You guys are really deep right here. Man, they got deep quick. See how deep they have to be to get out of here? So we're going to eat up all that fall to the front yard, so we want to do that in a leach line. The men are repairing the sprinkler lines. They already put the sump for the catch basin. Man, they're moving. They're moving. It's only 10 a.m. Move in. So right here we start shallow, real shallow. Now you can see, not very deep. You want to create your slope. When there's no slope, water's coming here, it's getting trapped. They're getting water in the basement. Because of it, it's negative slope. Negative slope. You can see it's uphill. It's cold here in Michigan. Man, we just had a dip in the jet stream, brought all the cold air from Canada. So we're using this winter pipe. It stays flexible in the cold weather. It does a lot of good things. We'll be talking a lot about that pipe in the future here, but for now I just want to talk about the system. So we have negative slope to the house. They got water in the basement. We're going to catch all the water right here. Remember, dig those sumps. They already dug the sump. Look at that. Basically, have your catch basin ready. This is going to be the first catch basin. Look at that. Beautiful. Right there's all the risers. As we get deeper, they're going to need more risers. All right, we got to go by these cedar trees. So we're going to be putting in some root barrier to protect us against those cedar trees. Those things are going to take this out if we don't do something. So we'll be putting in copper sulfate. We'll be throwing everything at those cedar trees. So guys, look at this. Look at how these rolls unroll. Like, it's below freezing here in Michigan. Don't let the sunshine fool you. We got a little sunshine, which is nice. And look at this. So the very end of the roll, you got to work some of the kinks out, you know, because it's inside the coil. So that's the part that's wound the tightest. But man, we just really like how these coils, I mean, it doesn't even matter what temperature, this stuff just unrolls straight. It's really nice. The very end is the only part that's a little bit kinked. So I'm going to give you another pointer. So this is what the guys are doing. Why did they roll them out? Well, the parts that are inside the coil that are the most twisted up, we want here, and we're going to send the whole piece. Now, when you cut a roll of pipe, you don't want to have the part that's inside that's twisted up the tightest left over, because it's hard to work with. But when it's long like this, you can connect it in the end. It works great. Guys that work with corrugated pipe all the time know what I'm talking about. If you have a bunch of these ends that are left over just from jobs, you know, you just had 70 feet of French drain, 50 feet of French drain. So you went ahead and you just peeled it off the coil. As you're getting down in the spool, it's getting tighter and tighter as far as how it's wrapped, how it's coiled. So they tend to twist a little bit inside the coil where they're wrapped the tightest. So we always lay it out opposite of what you would think. We just don't start unrolling the coil in the trench. Like I said, then when you go to cut it, you're going to have a bunch of ends. And then when you go to use the ends, because there's nothing wrong with it, there's nothing wrong with the pipe. When you go to use the ends to do, say, a 70-foot French drain, and you got like 3 partials, it's a problem. It's a problem, because now to get all those pieces to lay nice, it's a struggle. So word to the wise guys, always unroll your coils. Start with the inside of the coil first, because it's going to be a nice long run on your main, and it's going to lay better for you. Now guys, we were at 22 degrees last night, so these coils got down to 22 degrees. We got here, unloaded them. probably sitting around 28 degrees right now. The coil, look at that. So nice to work with. So nice to work with. Below freezing. All right, man, this is 28 degrees. This stuff was 22 degrees throughout the night this morning. And there you go. At the very end, you just gotta straighten it out, because when they roll pipe, they grab the end and it kind of, if you will, puts a kink in it. But this virgin pipe, it's really easy. It's very pliable. This pipe here is really pliable. This is a new blend. This material here is way more flexible and it's a lot easier to work with, especially in the cold, but it's a lot easier to work with no matter what. The guys like it. The guys are fans. This is going to be the most comprehensive curtain French drain video on YouTube. I give a lot of detail. I explain it well. If you watch it to the end and if you don't jump around, you're going to learn everything you need to know to build a curtain French drain that would last a lifetime. I'm also going to drop some trade secrets. Always set your laser level so that it's out of your work area. And you want to set it to where you don't have to be moving it around. Sometimes you do, but in a lot of cases, this is the perfect example. I wanted to give all our viewers an example. So the guys had to shoot the trench this way. They got to shoot the trench this way. So by putting this laser level, this transit right here, it covers all that. They never have to move it. They can do the whole dig, and that stays in one spot. So when you're laying out your job and you're tactfully going about trying to do it in a straight line and not make extra work, that's a really good point. If they would have put that over here to work their way across, then they have to reposition it again to do the dig out to the street. You can see how Valente, he's checking the bottom. Francisco gets the bulk of the dirt. Valente cleans the bottom. Dirk has our copper fabric. Look at this stuff. Is that insane? That is wild. This blows my mind. Where has this been my whole career? So we've been using this for a couple years now, and we've been testing it before we went public with the fact that we're using it. Look at that. Look at all that copper. Really expensive. We want to use the copper fabric right through here. These cedar hedges, they're bad news. They're the absolute worst. If anything takes a system out, it'll be those cedar. This stuff's like working with a sheet of tin. It's not like fabric. It's not like a blanket. The fabric's like working with a blanket. This stuff's a little bit stiff. You got to form it to the shape of the trench. And it's really expensive. But all of this is for nothing if these cedar take it out. a non-woven geotextile filter fabric. It drains great. There's two pieces of that non-woven geotextile filter fabric. One on each side of the copper. Dirk's cutting this in half. We're gonna pin half of, basically the width of the roll, we're cutting in half. We're gonna take one of the halves and we're gonna pin it to the side that has the roots, where the roots are coming from. And look at the copper right there where you cut it. That's beautiful. Show the subscribers. Look at all that copper. Yeah, they give you your money's worth in copper for this product. It's expensive, but you know, look at all the copper that's in it. Nothing discourages root growth like copper. Now it takes a year for this to work because the copper, it has to stay in contact with the soil, and then it basically leaches ions into the soil. The copper ions push the roots away, but it's definitely different to work with. It's like a sheet.
Sure is.
Yeah, opposed to like working with a felt blanket. This stuff is like working with a sheet of tin. Oh, that turned out perfect.
Sure did. Might have to tuck it down a little bit.
Man, don't get any better than that.
Right?
Yeah, you can just fold it over when the stone's in it.
Oh, fold it over this way?
That's what I'm thinking.
All right. I like it.
Just use the fabric pins and pin it to the wall of the trench, whatever side the roots are coming from. We service what we build, and because we build it so well, we don't have to service anything. We do offer cleaning out catch basins and cutting grass out from around the pop-ups to homeowners that live a busy lifestyle. And you know, a lot of times life happens and you forget about doing that, but if you have somebody scheduled to come and do it, you know your system's going to work. It's going to be reliable. So we run cameras through our systems and we test new products before we sell them. We always have prototypes. Like right now we're working with dozens of prototypes and new parts for you guys. And just like these copper products that we're bringing to market, we want to make sure they're going to work for you guys. We're not going to put our brand and our service mark next to anything that doesn't work. I'm here to tell you this copper infused fabric, it's the way to go. This is literally the highest protection when it comes to battling roots. Beautiful. Beautiful, man. Best root protection, best root barrier.
Yeah, looks good.
Copper infused drainage fabric. Beautiful job. Doesn't get any better than that. Our customers get the money's worth.
Yep.
Spare no expense. We want to build a system that's going to last a lifetime.
Well, that's good.
Last several lifetimes. We're really deep down the side of the house. The backyard was low. We had negative slope to the house. Water runs downhill. So even though we have some slope down the side of the house, it's taken us a while to get to a normal trench dig because we were so deep. Yeah, we gained a few inches down the side, but it's fairly flat down the side too. The water couldn't find its way out. You can see how much higher this house is here. Look how much higher this ground is. And it just ramps down. So they're catching all the water from the house next door. We're going to take care of all the drainage issues with this system. Now, if you have a basement, do not put your curtain French drain close to the basement wall. Do not do that. This is the right way to do a curtain French drain around a house with a basement. When you do it tight to the house, that's a foundation French drain. That's not a curtain French drain. And if you got a basement wall, all the water is going to run down the basement wall. It's a terrible idea. Don't do it. Lente's trying to get a reading. He's not getting a reading, so he knows he's high. He knows he's high. It's not beeping. He's going to shave it down a little bit more. He's going to take it down until he gets that laser level to communicate with that. We got a receiver and a transmitter, and they speak to one another. All right, looking good. So Cal's just putting our non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been double punched right over top of that copper infused fabric. Because of the expense of the fabric, we're not going to use it on both sides of the trench because we don't have any trees, any roots, no shrubbery, no problem on the other side of the trench. There's nothing better than a curtain French drain for negative slope. There's negative slope across the back of this home. There's negative slope down the side of the home. A curtain French drain is going to intercept all the water. It's not going to let it get to the foundation of the house. Now, if you put a curtain French drain too close to a home with a basement, you are going to find every single leak that's in that basement wall. Concrete walls are not watertight. And if somebody just took a brush and put tar on them, that's known as damp proofing, not waterproofing, just damp proofing. Even this rubber that you put on with a roller or a brush, it's only damp proofing. It doesn't create a watertight seal. Fortunately, we didn't have to use an outdoor sump pump system. As soon as we got to the front corner of the home, we started to have fall towards the street. We were so deep down the side of the house. If we didn't have that fall, we'd never be able to daylight the system. But because we were so deep, we can't really put a lot of slope on the bottom of the trench. Right out here, we have some real good permeable soil. I'm really happy about that. We're going to keep it a French drain out here. We're going to be able to get rid of a lot of that water in the sandy. There's a little bit of pea stone in this soil, sand. This is a really good permeable soil right through here. Because we don't have a lot of fall out here, and we want to daylight this pipe, I'm going to have the guys do this in what I refer to as a leach line. We just keep it French drain right to the very end, and then we're going to daylight it. So right here at the end, we're going to daylight it. The guys did a miter cut. Instead of taking it to a pop-up, we're building this to where it's going to hold no water. This last little stretch is culvert pipe. It's dual wall culvert pipe. We can ship this to you with your pallet orders. We'll put a 5-foot stick of that in coils that are going anywhere in the country. Doesn't matter. We're hand digging around a utility. We can't use the excavator through here. It has to be hand dug. There's communication lines that run right through here. All of our heavy duty and extra heavy duty pipe is so strong. So we're pulling it through a small hole in the fabric. Everybody always asks about this. You just cut a very small hole in the fabric and then push the pipe through, and you get a really good seal around that pipe when you do that. That's a downspout coming off a downspout. There's a long gutter run right here. So we want to catch all that water because it's contributing to the problem with the negative slope that this house has for grade. And there's nothing that we're going to do to fix that. Like, all this water is coming off the high ground, coming back here. It's just the way it is. We're in Rochester Hills, Michigan, rolling land. This is very common. We see it all the time. It's no big deal. One of the most important details to daylighting a system: you're going to be getting shallower and shallower until you end up at daylight. A lot of people will be too deep, and then they'll bring the system up, leaving a big belly in the system. This is going to hold water. In the north, this is going to freeze. In the south, well, then mosquitoes are going to fly into where you daylight, and they're going to breed, and it's going to be a mosquito hatchery. So in the south, it's a problem. In the north, it's a problem. You don't want to go too deep. If you can only go 0.5%, or if you even have to be flat when you're running this out to the street to get it to daylight so that you're not too deep. So the guys are putting sand, bags of sand next to the French drain. We're going to put that on the fabric. Once you do this enough, you know the distance to space them out. So we just bring half pallet to some jobs, bigger jobs, we bring a whole pallet of sand. And it works nice, guys, just using the bag sand for this, because you just need a thin layer of sand on top of the non-woven geotextile filter fabric. Just a very thin layer. Just cover it, that's all. There's some clay in this soil, and if you got clay back sod, you got to wait for those roots to grow through the fabric, because there's holes in this fabric for the roots to grow through. And then the water from the surface will just fall into your French drain. Well, if it's clay back, you got clay laying on that fabric, and the roots, they're not going to be grown through initially, so the sand keeps it permeable. Now next year, right now it's December, but next year you'd be looking at probably after our grow season. You know, there should be good root through here in June, and we're taking, you know, surface water in even faster. Our fabric works better and better each and every year because of the root that gets established. The more root growing through the fabric, the more water you can catch at the surface of your French drain. This buys us some insurance that is going to work for the homeowner until then. It's going to be under a lot of stress come spring. Right now, here in Michigan, grass is dormant in December. So the guys have a really good system from A to Z. They can get this system in a straight line. They're not zigging and zagging. That's what you want to do, guys. You want to be efficient. You want to do more French drains in less time. Notice how all the sod that was cut is over here, because the men are working on this side. If you put it on the wrong side of the trench, now you're running it over, you're stepping on it, you're destroying it. Now you got to work with sod that's been pounded flat. Makes your job harder, guys. Work smarter, not harder. So what the guys did here is they cut a piece of pipe, and then they took both of these fittings. This is a 45-degree fitting. This is a Y fitting. They took a piece of pipe, clicked it in this hub, clicked it in this hub. This is how you run two parallel lines into one discharge line. I haven't shown it in a while, so that's why I'm going to cover it right there. So we'll have our solid pipe for our catch basins and our downspouts. We'll have one of the perforated pipes tied in. They'll go into this dual wall discharge line that we're going to bring to daylight. Always just cut a smaller hole than the pipe diameter. That way when you pull the pipe through, you get a good seal from where you go from a stone French drain to a solid discharge. This is pretty much a leach line, discharge line, how we're building it. We do this a lot. I don't show it enough, and when I do show it in a video, I don't talk about it enough. So we're going to start emphasizing some of these techniques a little bit more so you guys can appreciate what we're up to and you can find value in it. It's below freezing. We're in the 20s, upper 20s. And this tape, doesn't matter if it's wet, doesn't matter if it's cold, doesn't matter if it's raining, and it doesn't matter if it's snowing. Super stretchy, super sticky. Works incredible. So there's the anatomy of a French drain yard drain taken to daylight. We've got a solid piece of culvert pipe, dual wall culvert pipe. Again, this is something we can ship if you're buying pallets, if you're a contractor and you're buying semis, full trucks, half trucks. And then right there we have our extra heavy duty Y to a 45-degree fitting so we can grab that yard drain with the roof runoff water in the solid pipe. And then we can do the 8 slot. One of the 8 slots will tie into that other hub right there. So when you have two parallel lines, that's how you get them to meet into one discharge. We put a critter guard on it to try to keep out rodents. Now, if you're in an area where you have a lot of mosquitoes and you're worried about disease, then you have to go to a pop-up emitter. But we're going to go to daylight here. There's not a mosquito issue here. It's mostly open in the back. There's a lot of sun. Beautiful installation. You got the bolt head right there. You can see the critter guard is in place. Keeps out rodents. During the drought season, they'll try to get in there and build a nest. Those female couplers hook up real nice, guys. Look at that.
What is?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Running a solid pipe for all the surface water on our 4-way connect catch basin. So easy to install those. Crazy easy to install those. So we got 2 8 slots. We start with 2 8 slot. Then we put the basin in the first low point. So we have 2 4-inch lines. 2 solid 4-inch lines. Man, that's really gonna move a lot of surface water. Nothing's gonna make it to the wall of the house. Nothing's gonna make it to the basement. We're gonna catch it all. The guys did a really good job. They got a 4-way connect catch basin. They wide in this downspout. We didn't put a basin on this downspout. There's no need because we got a yard drain basin right here. So this is going to catch all the shingle gravel, and we're going to catch surface water. You can see that they drilled small holes in the bottom. Man, just quality work by this crew. Absolutely beautiful. All right, I want to show you guys what this looks like. We started out shallow, so we got 2 8-slot pipes. We put an end cap in them, and then we go ahead. You know how we have those 2 holes for our fasteners for when we use this on our catch basin? Well, it makes it easy to pin. So we pin them down so they're nice and tight, flush to the ground. We get deeper, 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 and we go to our 4-way connect. This is the first area that we have pooling of water. So we got 4 pipes on this catch basin. These are just end caps. We got the 2 8 slots. Then we have to move to the solid pipe because now we're grabbing surface water. We're going to get a lot of debris. You see all these peanut shells? So you're feeding the squirrels, you're feeding the wildlife, you got bark mulch, you got leaves. All that's going to find its way into this catch basin. So we want that bottom pipe to be solid to discharge that water. You don't want it to be perforated at the bottom. Now you can run 8 slot on the top here too. The guys are anticipating a lot of water based on what the homeowner is telling us. So we got 2 solid pipes. 1 6-inch catch basin can overwhelm 1 4-inch line. Keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind. So we have now 2 6-inch catch basins grabbing up surface water. We got one right there with 1 riser. We got another one here with 1 riser. We go to the 2 solid pipes. Every time you put an inline catch basin, you're picking up more water. So keep that in mind. Right here, you know, we're getting deep, guys. So you see all the risers we got. These are those 1.5-inch risers. Every riser is 1.5 inches. No glue, no tape, no screws. You just set them on there. Guys got 4 risers. Did a beautiful job. Solid cover for now so we don't fill them with stone when we dump stone in here. Then we'll go to a grate. So this is a quad pack, guys. This is a quad pack. There's going to be 4 pipes. Beautiful job tying this in. Again, this downspout does not have a catch basin on it. We don't need it because right here we go into another 4-way connect. We're going to use that for surface water that collects here as well as collecting all the shingle gravel. So we get shallow at the end, guys. So we go from 4 pipes to 2. We're going to end the system 1 solid line, 1 perforated. Yard drain, roof runoff system on a solid, perforated for a French drain. Going to wire them together right here and take them right to the road. Now the guys are right behind the crew that's filling in the trench with stone. They're pinning the fabric and then they're putting sand on top of the fabric. We're going to be able to take in a lot of surface water right through the French drain. We have the catch basins. Remember, we just have a solid cover on here for when we fill it full of stone so that we don't end up with a catch basin full of stone. Then once we're done with the stone, the guys take that solid cover off and they go to the grate with the turf plate. Those are set at the perfect level. Very efficient. Guys are moving right along. Right here, we have a real steep grade. The steep grade right here is giving us a little bit of a problem, so work smarter, not harder, guys. You see what the guys are doing. You got a full bucket of stone, you turn and you try to back up. The back of the machine goes up, and now the weight of the stone is going to cause the machine to tip. It's not very safe, so you want to definitely be smart. Safety first. The men move really quick. I'm trying to show you this before they close it up. Look at that. That's a beautiful drainage system. Give the customer their money's worth in pipe, their money's worth in stone. Moving down the side of the house here. Now we're starting to get shallower because we started to get some fall. So right here you can see how these risers bring you to grade. We got 5 risers. We were already getting some water in here. Each one of those risers are 1.5 inches. Now Cal's putting all the turf grass back on the system. Once we take a leaf blower and blow this, you won't even be able to tell that we were here. Look at this. We got an extra piece of sod that's normal. If you cut it with a sod cutter, it stretches. And of course, you have the 12 by 12 too. So for those 2 reasons, expect to have some extra sod pieces. Oh, this one's filling up with water too. Starting to get some water in the system, a little bit. We have a solid pipe and we have an 8-slot perforated pipe. We're pretty shallow here because we're daylighting this system. The guys already have the system right here. The homeowner's going to have to make sure the grass doesn't grow over top of that discharge. That whole system depends on the grass not growing over that discharge end. And that's it. We're going to leach a lot of the water in this really good soil here. We got great drainage right through this section. This is the perfect example of a curtain French drain. This is how I like to see curtain French drains done. Do not put the curtain French drain too close to a basement wall. You don't want to do that. Remember, a French drain that's up against the foundation of a home is a foundation French drain. On a basement, it's about 9 feet deep. If it's a crawl space, then it's going to be about 2 feet deep. If it's on a slab, it's going to be about a foot deep. Right here, you can see that copper fabric. Look at that copper fabric. Look at that. Look at all that copper sandwiched between that non-woven geotextile filter fabric. Love this product. I wish it was available, 30 years ago. There's no better root barrier than this copper fabric. This is the pinnacle of root barriers. Our copper sock would be our next best root barrier. Very fortunate to now have a manufacturer who's figured it out. So you can see how when they water their lawn, it all runs down here. Their downspouts just pour down here. So this homeowner inherits a lot of water from his neighbor. His neighbor really should run those downspouts out to the front yard, but he won't because it's not a water problem for him. Now, it is written in the code book that you're supposed to retain your own water. There's supposed to be a swale right here on this guy's property, and he should retain all his own water. So if this homeowner I'm working for did complain about this, they would have to catch this water and run it to the curb. That's a fact. That's what the code book says. You have to retain your own water. You can't shed your water onto another neighbor's property. It's a code violation. A curtain French drain doesn't get any better than this. The guys went ahead and they already took the leaf blower, cleaned this up. Look how nice this looks. Pretty nice. Not bad. The system starts right here. Got a little bit of snow still. We picked up a couple inches a few days ago. And there's still remnants of it. As long as we can dig and the ground's not too frozen, we're going to keep working. And remember, any aggressive trees, big shade trees, willow trees are really bad. Look at this. These arborvitaes are suckers. They like to drink up the water. They're going to want to find their way into the system. But this copper right here, it's not going to work for us today, but by next year, it's going to have these ions that are going to push the roots away. Once that copper starts to leach into the subsoil, it's pretty amazing. Contractors have been wrapping copper wire around drain pipe for decades. It's been a well-known trade secret if you're a drainage contractor, but there's never been products like that that makes it easy, quick, a nice install with consistency. So the guys are finishing closing up this system. We were so deep down the side of the house. So you have to have your trench continually dropping. So even though we have drop here, most of it just got canceled out because we were so deep. We finally got shallow enough to be on 2 pipes right here. But to my point, we don't have a lot of slope in the bottom of this trench. We do not. So I like to build the discharge end like a leach line in cases like this. It works great, guys. You lose a lot of water in that leach line. A lot of times no water even makes it out of here. And that's the truth. It has to rain a lot and for quite a while. This is a well-executed curtain French drain. It doesn't get any better than this. This homeowner is never going to have a water problem again. All this water that's shedding on this negative pitch, we got negative slope, terrible. We got the neighbor's water, we got negative slope from behind the house. The ground is really high over there. Look at how much slope we got. Standing water here, and it results to water in the basement. So much water behind this house. Here's that one downspout I can show you. So we did a leaf filter because there's a lot of leaves, big trees. So we did a leaf filter to keep this line nice and clean. The snow is melting. We got some snow melting, so that's the water you see. We didn't need to put a catch basin here, nor was it a good idea. We got too many roots. Sealed it up real good here, took one line through those trees, had a 4-way connect catch basin that was connecting surface water. Always leave your catch basins a little low. You want the water to drop into them. Water always finds the low point, so it's not going to help you if you have that turf restrictor too high. That's why we have those risers only 1.5 inches at a time, so you can find that perfect height. Let that water just drop right in. The men build the road in, and then they just do everything in reverse, and they have to pull the road up. But this is what it takes to provide this service for homeowners and not leave them with a yard where you destroy 500 yards of turf grass and take out 3 of their sprinkler zones. We come in, we offer full service. When we leave, your yard is just as we found it. In a lot of cases, it's even better because we fix some things we see along the way. All right, everybody, if you like the videos that I'm putting together and uploading, give me a thumbs up. It supports the channel. If you guys have any videos you want me to make, leave them in the comments. And if you have any questions regarding a curtain French drain, leave them in the comments section. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until the next video.